The backlog is real. Whether you're playing on Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, or Steam. And mine has gotten out of hand. I have no self-control, and when I see a deal, I have to grab it. Come with me as I finally tackle my backlog, gaining control one game at a time.
All right, look, Morty, Kojima just wants us to reconnect to fractured society and stop the Death Stranding. What are all these ghosts?
Those are the Death Stranding, Rick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
Jeez, Rick, you know, we've been walking for a while, and I got this baby in a tube here.
Maybe it's some sort of crazy upgrade. Hold on, I've got an idea.
Hey, stop,
All right,
stop!
It's not an upgrade. Let's eat it.
What? We can't eat it, it's a baby!
Morty, what if it makes us run faster or jump higher?
Okay, let's eat the baby.
Let me take you back to 2014. The release of Metal Gear Solid 5 is on the horizon, and a mysterious free game from the unknown 7780s studio dropped, and is terrifying everyone who plays it. Not too long after, it was revealed that Hideo Kojima was not only working on Metal Gear Solid 5, but also a new Silent Hill game with Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro. Then the world came crashing down on not only diehard Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill fans, but the gaming industry as a whole, when Konami's new CEO fired Kojima, not only barring him from fully completing the production on Metal Gear Solid 5, but also canceling the most promising and terrifying Silent Hill game in the past 10 years. So why bring this all up now? Well, since 2015 and the tumultuous firing of Kojima, fans were left wondering what would happen. I don't think there was a doubt in anyone's mind that Kojima would work again. He's one of the few game creators that gets likened to that of an auteur. Q, Mark Cerny, and PlayStation. They scooped up Kojima almost immediately after his firing and funded a new game from his new indie studio. In 2019, we got Death Stranding, which depending on who you ask, is either a masterpiece or one of the worst games ever made. As you can tell, not only am I a huge Kojima fan, I'm also a huge Silent Hill fan, so how those games were treated hurt me like hell. When I saw the first trailer for Death Stranding, I was immediately all in on it. It looked nuts. It had Mads Mikkelsen, and at the time I was super hyped for it after watching him in the Hannibal show, where he killed it.
He wanted me to kill Nick Boyle.
I was hoping.
And of course, it had Norman Reedus, which, you know, is Norman Reedus. Love him or hate him, you can't deny he's pretty much the same character in everything.
Stupid bitch.
But it was great to see him working with Kojima again after PT fell through. And even the man himself, Guillermo del Toro, is in this game. Well, at least his body is. I got this game when it came out, and after a few hours of playing it, I wasn't as interested in it as I thought I would be, and eventually put it down until the director's cut came out and streamlined a few things, like how soon you get a weapon, and I think it made the combat overall a little more actiony. The story of Death Stranding is a wild one, and I'm not really sure, even after watching hour-long analysis videos, that I even have a firm grasp on what the hell is going on. It takes place in a dystopic future America where an event called the Death Stranding has brought on a sort of apocalypse by bridging the world of the living and the world of the dead. There are these beings, invisible to most, called BTs, which if they get a hold of you and kill you will cause a void out, which is something akin to a massive bomb going off. And when people die, they have to be incinerated as soon as possible since they run the risk of going necro, and also causing a void out, bringing BTs to the area. You play Sam Porter Bridges, who is charged by his adoptive mother, the current president of the United States, to travel from the East Coast to the West Coast, connecting all of the bunkers and cities to something called the Chiral Network. The Chiral Network, I think, is something like the internet, but it allows Bridges to connect and share resources with people all over the country, granting them access to new items and other things that can be printed using chiralium and other precious metals and materials. Sam has this ability called Dooms, which allows him to sense when a BT is close by. He gets a BB early on in the game, which stands for Bridge Baby, and allows him to somewhat see where a BT is. BB is also your companion throughout the game, and you have to maintain a relationship with it and keep it happy. I really like this aspect of the game. I found it really interesting, and you get to see Sam create a bond with this baby, even though to everyone else it's just a piece of equipment. As you make your way through the world, Sam will start having these dreams, which look like to be visions from BB's past, since they're all told from the perspective of BB, while his father, Mads Mikkelsen's character Cliff, bonds and talks to him. These are probably my favorite parts of the story. It adds so much to the world since this is a glimpse into what happened in BB's life, and eventually it all ties back to what's happening in the world at large. There are also some missions where you get pulled into a crazy World War era looking environment and Cliff is hunting you. Those are by far my favorite parts in terms of story and gameplay. I just really like Mads Mikkelsen, and I want him in more Kojima games. The essence of the story is really meeting people and creating bonds or strands. Yeah, you see what I did there? You explore a vast world, traveling from one end to the other, surviving harsh terrain and climate, while attempting to bring everyone across the country online. Cliff is awesome, but he isn't the main villain of the show. That honor belongs to Higgs, and yeah, he's a son of a bitch. This SOB is brought perfectly to life by Troy Baker, who does an amazing job at making the character such an arrogant ass that all you want to do is punch him in the face, and later, you can.
Gotcha, bitch!
I don't like to bring up endings or spoilers usually, but the way this fight turned into an almost arcade-style fighter had me calling back to the ending of Metal Gear Solid 4.
You're pretty good.
You're pretty good. Pretty good.
There's a lot of that stuff in here, and it gets weirdly meta.
Run.
Yeah. Like Mario and Princess Peach.
Kojima's no stranger to weird things or convoluted storylines. I just hope he doesn't get as bad as Tetsuya Nomura.
Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, a fragmentary passage. That's a paragraph! You have a decimal, a subtitle, and a tagline? Now that's a motherfucking title.
The biggest character in this game by far is the world. It's an open world game with tons to offer. Everything around you looks amazing, and if you can see it, odds are you can go to it. One of the big criticisms I've heard of this game is that Kojima basically made a game for his playlist. And if that's true, I am 100% okay with that. The music is amazing. The amount of detail packed into each section is mind-blowing, and the beauty of it all is absolutely stunning, especially when the camera draws back, revealing the scope of the area, and Silent Poet starts to play. It's an amazing thing to experience, and a perfect introduction into the game. There's a lot of environmental storytelling that goes on as well. There are areas that were subject to void out who knows when, and they are crawling with BTs. There are areas that have just fallen apart since the Death Stranding event took place. It's a crazy world to get lost in. You are the UPS man in Death Stranding. The gameplay was probably the hardest part of the game for me to get into, and that's because on the surface, it's fetch quest the game. Most of the missions in the game have Sam taking vital resources to the big cities in need of help, or having him retrieve things for people all over a certain area in an attempt to persuade them to join the chiral network. You are a pack mule, having to put not only the mission's required delivery items on your back, but also any items you may need for the journey. This is everything from ladders and ropes to help you ascend or descend an area, to healing items or weapons. You are locked to how much weight Sam can carry. The weight distribution of these items also plays a huge role since it directly affects how Sam walks, which way his character will start to sway on uneven ground or even knock him over. But be careful because, that's right, the quality of the package directly affects your overall score at the end of the mission.
Talk about above and beyond. Thanks.
And if something is completely damaged, the mission will fail. While you are out and about, you also need to worry about two things other than running into a BT: the mules and the timefall. The mules are former porters like Sam who have become addicted and get something of a high from taking packages from porters. The timefall is rain that rapidly ages everything it touches, and since Sam is shielded from it with his coat, it only really affects your packages, items, and vehicles. The timefall will cause everything to deteriorate and break if you aren't careful. The game's action or stealth mechanics come in with the mules. This part of the game, along with the other world missions with Cliff, reminded me a ton of Metal Gear, and that made me smile. Even though Metal Gear Solid was stolen from Kojima, they can't take away the level design and stealth philosophy that he pretty much created and pioneered throughout his career. Overall, this game is a testament to Kojima's creativity and game design philosophy. Even after his life's work and his upcoming projects were stripped away from him, he still found a way to create something crazy, holding his extremely high sense of quality and connect with his fans. And who's to say he wasn't thinking about this game while making Metal Gear Solid 5 and Silent Hills? Do I think this game is for everyone? No. Not at all. Once you strip away the top layer of the game and what everyone, at least in the US, complained about, Kojima succeeded in not only making a crazy, interesting, albeit sometimes convoluted story and world, but most importantly, he succeeded in creating a new type of video game experience, which in this oversaturated open world and overall AAA gaming market is an amazing feat. If this game is sat on your backlog, as it has mine, but it still piques your interest, I think you should give it another go. Maybe try out the director's cut if you felt like the game unfolded too slowly. So those were my thoughts and opinions on Death Stranding and why it sat on my backlog for so long. It's honestly a great game with a lot of issues and weird story quirks, but hey, that's just Kojima at this point in his career. He can do whatever the hell he wants. Let me know what you thought about Death Stranding in the comments below, and don't forget to give me a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.